So you may have heard the craze around this word productizing when it comes to the web design world. What does this term mean? And is it something that you should consider doing? We're going to talk about that in today's episode of Subscription Web Design. First of all, if you're new around here, my name's Steve Schramm. This is the Subscription Web Design Podcast. We're helping you build a thriving, recurring, revenue-based web design business. When I first got into the web design game, it was all about the feast and famine. And if you're on that cycle right now, you have found the podcast to help get you off of that cycle. One great way to use a subscription model and get you off of the feast or famine cycle is by using this tool called Productizing. But it's a little mysterious, and I feel like there's lots of people out there and they're talking about this, and different people have different definitions. So I'd at least like to give you my take on it for your consideration to see if it's something that you should consider doing. So maybe the best way to explain what productizing is to actually tell you what productizing is not. All right. If you don't productize, then just what is the alternative? Well, the alternative looks something like this. Every project's a little different, right? Every single project that you do is a little different in nature. By definition, you are providing a service, not a product. And so when we're talking about productizing, the longer way to say that is a productized service. In other words, it's a service that behaves more like a product. Now, if you don't do this, these are the natural consequences. And I'm not saying that these are bad. I mean, they certainly sound bad, okay? But they're also just naturally what happens in a service-based business. But you have to decide if you want these negative things to be something that you have to deal with. For example, wasting time on unqualified customers. I bet if you just sell a service, then you probably waste time having conversations with unqualified customers. There's no predictable income, right? Most of the time when you're providing a service that has not been productized, you don't have predictable income. It's very up and down. Also, you have long sales times, right? Long sales cycles in a product or in a service that has not become productized because there's lots of back and forth. It's not clear what the pricing is, how someone can sign up for it. Is it going to have to be a custom job done every time? And then the last thing I wrote here it kind of, if you don't productize, you're going to have to deal with is you might lose clients who actually assume that you're too expensive. Because again, a lot of times with this, you're not going to list any of your pricing. It's going to be real custom. You have to design it every time. And customers might think, well, this is just going to be too expensive anyway. I'm not even going to bother with it. And then they go about their merry way. So on a non-productized model, a purely service-based model, every project is a little bit different. Now, let's just look at us real quick. In my business, are we productized? I would say we are not fully productized. We're somewhere in the middle. But every day, we're getting a little bit closer. And in fact, as we have our two new businesses now, Skyview Marketing and Pro Membership Sites, as opposed to NorthMac Services, NorthMac was very not productized. Skyview and Pro Membership Sites, however, are quite a bit more productized, and especially as they are right now. We've just recently revamped our packages on both of those, although I had a little mishap on the Pro Membership Site, so I have yet to go back and redo the packages over there. But I have productized and packaged up the services on the Skyview marketing site right now. And so we are looking to sell more of a productized service, although it's not truly productized because we're still selling ultimately custom web design, even though we put some barriers around it, okay? So in web design, if you productize, you're going to have a scenario where you're creating a way to deliver consistent value. In other words, it's a consistent, repeatable process that happens every single time. And oftentimes, just like if you were to go buy a KitchenAid mixer off the shelf, you might buy a sky blue one, and then you might buy a candy apple red one, or somebody else might come along and buy a candy apple red one. They look a little different, but they're ultimately the same thing. And that is kind of what a template-based website model is. I would say a template-based website model with very predictable pricing that somebody could sign up for right there on the website is a productized business, okay? So with it, you deliver consistent value. The client knows what they're going to get every single time, and it's easier for you to actually hire people to help you deliver it and even to deliver it. What you end up doing is putting together processes that work really great and uniquely well for your team, and you get better and better, faster and faster, and the services to you, your costs get cheaper and cheaper. And you can onboard more and more customers because it becomes more streamlined. So, man, productizing, it's also easier to price. It's easier to price a productized service than it is to price a custom website design project. I love the idea on our Skyview site right now. We have 3 packages at different levels of service. The first one is a highly productized, template-based starter solution at $199 per month. And then we have two further ones that have a custom website, and it's a little bit more, or a little bit less productized, I should say, because there's no templates and all of that. So those are $297 and then $499, $299 and $499, respectively. Those were really easy to price because of the slight productizing that we did to them, created some boundaries of around what would be included in those packages. Even though they're custom websites on the 2 higher plans, there's still a degree of productization that made them easier to price. It'll make it easier to deliver on, and it's going to ultimately end up saving me money. And the last thing I'll say about this in terms of the benefits of productizing is that it's just easier to flex or adjust what your model is and what you're doing. For example, you could absolutely take a done-for-you service, a service that right now you have fully done for you. You could create some course material around that, make your team available to certain customers for X fee, and create a done-with-you program instead of a done-for-you program. And that scales even more because you're not going to be the one delivering on the service all the time. So that's what productizing is. Should you do it? I think absolutely. You should absolutely consider some degree of productization because, look, at the end of the day, there is no greater desire for so many service-based businesses than to move into the product world. And so productizing your service is a fantastic way to do that. And the subscription model, by the way, is perfect for this. The subscription model, it makes it easy for you to charge a particular fee per month, deliver a consistent, repeatable result every single month, support that, and really it's a great way to make income for your business with less and less work, which is the essence of business, right? The higher the more you're charging, and the less you have to pay to fulfill on the work, the more profit that you have. And productization naturally lends to creating that result. And that's why it's so wonderful. So yes, I highly encourage you to consider productizing your business. And if you join up with us inside of our membership, that's something that we can talk about and help you figure out what that looks like specifically in your business. All right. God bless. I hope you guys take care and find this to be a useful and helpful episode. And we'll catch you in the next one.